Voodoo Whiskey Gaming, and this is my late review of Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, but the multiplayer stuff. I play on the Xbox Series X. It's also available on the Xbox One, PS4, PS5, and PC. I already covered the story, so we're getting into audio, which the only thing that really needs to be addressed is the zombie audio, because everything else is pretty much what you'd expect. Narration, characters screaming commands, gunshots, etc. The only difference in zombie mode is there's zombie and creature sound effects, and I think that works well. But let's really get into the gameplay mechanics and whatnot, and I'm going to start with the multiplayer. I play a lot of hardcore, I've made that clear in the past, and I enjoyed it. They have made some changes to the gameplay, but all the tweaks overall I felt were kind of small, nothing massive in my opinion. Some of the changes that they did make, I didn't feel mattered so much. They did bring back score streaks, still have to get that score streak in one life or else it doesn't matter. You still have perks and whatnot, but they're now gear, so your gloves or your boots or your body armor will all provide different gear. It's technically not body armor, it can be like headgear and stuff like that, but that's where you'll get your scavenger, you'll get your sprint, your extra sprint, I can't remember what it's called, but that stuff. And I think one of the biggest changes I would call the tactical stance in like just straight gameplay, and I gotta say, I didn't find a use for it. It's supposed to be this like middle ground between going ADS and hip firing, but I found that I was better off just doing ADS or hip firing. This middle ground just never seemed to play out well for me. I think the only time I found a decent use for it was when I was running around with an LMG, but for most other weapons, your ADS is fast enough that it doesn't really matter. And I at least generally found myself either running into enemies close enough that hip firing worked or far enough away that I needed a proper sight. So I just don't think it really works in most of the situations. At least that's where I landed on it. Again, the only time I really felt any benefit from it was using an LMG. Even in zombie modes, that was the only time that I ended up using it because everyone else was either far enough away for ADS or close enough for hipfire. But otherwise, if you have enjoyed Modern Warfare's multiplayer, then you're gonna find enjoyment here. I will say I do have some complaints with some of the maps. Like, they have alleys just kind of run off into nowhere. I like to kind of loop around the map, and some of these alleys, they look like they're gonna get you around the map at first, but then they just don't, and they just dead end, and you kind of wonder why they're even there. And now I understand that in real life that could totally happen to you. This is a video game. Those kind of areas should absolutely not exist because, you know, the map is meant to keep you moving through gameplay. One cool thing, and I guess it does make this game feel a little more DLC-like, is that weapons from Modern Warfare 2, like weapons you have leveled up, will transfer over and you can access them. Not necessarily immediately, some of them you can, some of them you can't. I had access to my M4, which was fully maxed out. I had access to it right away. But I do think that's kind of a cool way of going about it. You also get any character skins that you purchased, all of that stuff. So again, that's kind of nice. One major complaint I do have in the multiplayer is definitely the spawns. And I think that's true of a lot of multiplayer games, is figuring those out, but I mean, you kind of had ground to start with since a lot of these maps are just remakes of the original Modern Warfare 3 maps. But the spawning definitely needs work, and I think that's also true in zombie mode, because there were times where just zombies were randomly popping up, like right next to you and humping your leg immediately with little to no warning, so they could work on spawns just in general in the multiplayer. Which I want to get into the zombie mode, because man, I was really butthurt when I first jumped into it. I was expecting classic zombie mode. You go to a map, you do, you know, your zombie mode. You hold down the fort, you build up enough points, you unlock a door into a new area, etc. No, this is an open world zombie game. I was playing with a couple of friends of mine, and you go into an open world, you find contracts, you find strongholds, you kill zombies to level up your weapons, you find mystery boxes, pack-a-punches, the sodas that give you boosts, like all of that is there, but it's in this big open world. And you're timed, you only have like 40, 45 minutes, something like that, before you have to exfil. And guns you go in with, well, if you die, you lose them, but you can find new guns, and if you manage to exfil, you get to take those with you. But it's not just guns, it's other gear as well. Like, I picked up a plate carrier that held multiple plates, or gas masks, different types of ammo. Like, you can pick it up, you can use it then, but if you want to get out with it, you gotta successfully exfil. The one thing that really threw us off is there are like survivors, I guess you call them, but they're enemy NPCs. So zombie mode is still PvE, but it's just an open world PvE and doesn't follow the normal zombies mode mechanics. But that's not a bad thing. After the first run, we found ourselves really enjoying it. And I gotta say, I've had a lot of fun playing the new zombie mode. Let's get into the controls, and I mean same controls, so nothing to really complain about there. Although I will say in zombie mode there were a few times where I felt like I pressed reload or weapon switch and it didn't happen. Then last but not least, graphics and visuals. I don't have a lot to say here. The one thing I am kind of annoyed by in the regular multiplayer, and it can stay in Warzone, is some of the skins are just way out of place. Nicki Minaj, fucking tree demons, and other shit like that. I feel like that's Warzone Battle Royale shit. I kinda like my traditional multiplayer being a little more militaristic because, you know, militaristic shooter and all. And maybe that's just me being a bit of a grumpy old man there, but hey, that's where I land on that. It's not like horrible and doesn't ruin the experience. It's just a little distracting at first, but once you get moving, get shooting, it's not a big deal. As for zombie mode, I think that's actually pretty cool. The zombies are well designed, and some of the creatures you run into, that was cool and came out of nowhere. I really liked their designs. But I don't have a lot to add to the graphics and visuals. I think it's still a good looking game. I like the effects that they have in the zombie mode as well as the multiplayer. So to get into the wrap up, this is such a weird Modern Warfare game because honestly, the campaign, not big on it, fully skipped, but I had a lot of fun in multiplayer and I'm still having fun with it. So if you're looking for more multiplayer, yeah, it's not a bad thing to go and get this game because it really does grow and enhance upon what was there previously. It would be cool if you got like Modern Warfare 2 maps rolling in there, but if you're buying this for the campaign, skip it. If you are interested in the multiplayer, it's awesome. I had a lot of fun with it. Okay, in the comments down below, why don't you tell me what's your favorite weapon class in Call of Duty? And as always, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please hit that like button. And if you like what I'm doing in general, share and subscribe. Have a good one.